Good morning, welcome to Heartland Outdoor Living. This morning we're going to be talking about the Bear Super Grizzly. As many of you know, last year we decided to make the commitment to switch over to more traditional bows. And that style of hunting, there's a lot more to it than just making the switch. But when I was a kid, I was probably somewhere in that range around 10, 12, and my grandpa and my dad had only deer hunted one time that I know of. My grandpa was a hunter, but he never took my dad for whatever reason. So essentially, around that 10, 11 year mark, I ended up getting a Bear Recurve from my grandpa, and my dad had one from when they got drawn in on the McAllister archery hunt. And for you guys that are here in Oklahoma, that's a big hunt. It's like a once in a lifetime type deal, as well as the draw out on the Wichita Wildlife Range. But here nor there, I got the bow, and I think it was about a 50-pound bow, so needless to say, I couldn't pull very much of it. Ended up putting it down and left it alone for probably a couple of years. Probably when I was about 12 years old, I ended up getting it back out and shooting with it pretty regular, to the point where I could come to full draw and actually shoot. And I ended up shooting that thing for, I don't know, quite a bit every day. After school, I'd rush home, I'd get off the bus. Of course, there wasn't no such thing as homework in my mind. I figured that's what we had school for. We could do that while we was there. And when I got home, that was my playtime. Of course, you can tell I didn't do real good in school, but either way. Last year, I ended up making the switched over to the Bear Super Grizzly trad bow, and that's what we're doing the video about this morning. We're just going to kind of go over the pros and cons of this bow, and as you can see, it's kind of dirty and scuffed up, and it's got some scratches on it and whatever. And I hunted with it probably no less than 30 hunts last year. I was able to successfully take a deer with it, and the bow itself, it's I want to say it's in that $500 range. This one is set up at 45 pounds. I went with a little lighter bow than my compounds. I've been shooting around that 65, 70, and I knew switching back over and trying to hold 45 or 50 pounds I felt like was probably going to be too much. So I went with the 45 pounds and actually got to where I could shoot pretty decent with it by the end of the season. I'd say before season started, I was shooting decent. And when I say decent, I was real accurate at 10, 15 was okay, and then 20, I just wasn't going to shoot. So that's where I was at with my skill level, and I knew going into the trees that's where I'd be at. So I ended up taking one. I don't remember the date on it, but it would have been probably around gun season, probably that November-ish time frame. And I never did hunt with a gun last year. I just hunted with my bows. But I'm taking a guess because I don't remember the exact date. But the bow shoots accurate. It's for $500. It's an easy way to get into archery season and get into start shooting yourself. Because that's relatively cheap. I know you can go out and buy a compound bow in that same price range, and it might seem kind of high for a recurve, but honestly, I think it's priced about right, because it's a good, solid bow. One of the things that I did like about it, and two things happened last year. I used to have a lease in Shawnee, and me and my dad had that for 20-something years, and when we bought our little off-grid cabin, we decided at that point, instead of paying money towards that lease, I was going to put that money that I was paying towards the lease towards our 7 acres in our little cabin. So that was the decision I made, and I knew that the little 7 acres would maybe produce 1 or 2 deer a year. I didn't feel like it would be anything that I'd ever be able to limit out on. I mean, we had a few deer signed, but nothing that would get you super excited about hunting it. But it proved to be so far true, because I ended up getting 2 down there last year. One on another 5 acres down the road that I'm working on trying to buy, and then the 7.5 that we have, I got one off of this. So it was a good, successful archery season for us in my mind. But the Bear Grizzly, which is what we're talking about right now, it held up great. We hunted in some really heavy rains on public land, and we hunted, again, very little bit on the private. It was mostly public hunting land. And that's part of the thing that I really like about this bow, with it being lightweight. We switched over to a more lightweight hunting last year. I watched a lot of videos about saddle hunting, that kind of stuff, and we decided to go that route, knowing that we was going to be hunting public land, and the public land was going to be harder and more difficult terrain, and most of the places I picked out were a minimum of a mile, if not 2 mile hike back into the woods. So I ended up making a saddle. I'll do a video on that. I still haven't done a video on how the saddle and what we did, but with this bow being super lightweight, and I've never really liked a quiver on my bows. That's just something that I don't even have one on my compound bow. I always use the hip quiver, so it's just real lightweight and easy to carry through the woods. I mean, you can carry it a long ways and never feel tired or whatever. I know a lot of times when I was carrying the big heavy compound bow, at one point me and my dad made little slings for our belts that we could kind of hold it and walk through the woods and whatever. But this bow is super lightweight, so it's easy to walk through the woods carrying and having an arrow knocked and ready to go in case you do see something. Of course, it's going to have to be close, guys, but that's just me and my skill level. If your skill level is greater, so good for you, but I knew that it would have to be close. I didn't actually walk up on anything that I even drew back on, but you are able to get through the woods, in my mind, a lot easier and a lot quieter, simply because it's lightweight, it's easy to maneuver and get it through the brush. Even though it's a longer bow than the compounds, there's really not a lot of metal on it. And you can see, I modified, I ended up putting different felt on this and a different pad for the arrow rest last year, and I think I do have video on that. I might have done it, I don't remember. And then also, since we was doing so much hunting in the rain, I took the beaver fur off and I put these little rubber string silencers on. So this bow is actually pretty quiet, and I'm pretty pleased with that. I know that both deer that I shot last year, they heard a slight something, which was just kind of the arrow going through the air, and they didn't run off. I was really impressed with that. I mean, the one, he ended up walking off nice and easy, and same with the other one. I mean, they just walked real light-footed, almost to the point I was almost a little bit nervous about where I even got the shot at. But both of them were double lung shots. The one was definitely double lung and slight heart shot on it as well. So I was pleased with both the shots. Neither one of them went more than 50 yards max. And again, they walked off, they didn't steam off and run off. So I was pleased with that. Again, part of the draw for me and this bow right here is it's just really exciting. It's fun to get into a tree stand, and I'll try to throw up some videos, because I know I've got some video of the deer really close. I mean, less than, that 20-yard mark. I had probably one of the better it's always the fish that got away story, but we do have one of them. I mean, one of the bigger bucks I've seen in Oklahoma, period. I got him, he was coming in on me, he was about 20 yards away. I was sitting on the ground in a stool, basically like what I'm sitting in right now. So long story short, he came in within that 20-yard mark, and we were hunting around a bunch of blackjacks at the time. So ended up, I don't have a picture of him, I don't even have him on camera, but I'm just telling you guys, he was something to get excited about. And I spent all the rest of my time hunting that particular public land. That's all I did was hunt for him. I passed on several deer. I could have got several other bucks, but I was holding out for him, and it just it just didn't pan out. But that's part of the fun. And again, like I say, let's see here, we've talked about the bow's consistent. It shoots really good. I'll throw up some images of it with me shooting in the backyard. These are at 15-yard shots. It's proven. We've harvested a deer with this particular bow already, and then man, it's super exciting. To me, it just reminds me of being a kid again, and some of the things I don't ever feel like I missed out on anything, especially hunting when I was younger. Me and my dad, we did what we could, and we hunted when we could. And we did a lot of bow hunting, ultimately switched over to black powders in the fall, and then we did the rifle hunting. And to be honest with you, I've always had so much more fun with the archery. I haven't gun hunted in probably 4 or 5 years, maybe. That's a rough guess. I'd rather be out in the woods with my bow, and I did that last year during rifle season and black powder bow. I was out with bow. So again, guys, that's I know it's kind of lengthy, and that's my take on a 1-year review on the Bear Super Grizzly bow. I'll throw in some close-ups of this bow. You can see it, it's dirty, it's nasty, and I haven't cleaned it up. The only thing I've been doing is shooting it and waxing the string. I figure the little bit of mud, dust, and dirt that's on it from hunting with this all last year just kind of gives it a little bit of character. Plus it knocks off that little bit of shine that it might have had, and just going to kind of help me camo into the woods a little better without anything being shiny, if you know what I'm saying. But again, guys, we appreciate your likes, comments, and subscribes. If you like this video, give us a big thumbs up. We appreciate your likes, comments, and subscribes. May you have a blessed week. Stay tuned. I am going to be posting up a video shortly on the saddle that I made last year, and then I'm going to post another video on what we're prepping to hunt with tree stand wise this year, because we're going to make a little switch up. If you watch my hunting Oklahoma in a saddle video, you're going to see why I'm switching, and it's just a personal deal for me, but I think you'll enjoy those videos as well. Again, we appreciate your likes, comments, and subscribes. If you're looking for this Bear Super Grizzly and you're thinking about getting into bow hunting, a couple of cheap ways. Check Craigslist. You might be able to find one pretty cheap there, and then if not, I'll post a link to it. I believe you can get it at Three Rivers. You can get it at maybe Amazon. I'll see if there's an Amazon link. I'll post it down below. And then, of course, arrows and stuff like that, they're just kind of part of the game. So again, we appreciate your likes, comments, and subscribes, and may you have a blessed week.